Hi everyone, it's Kim from Handmade by Kim, and today I'm going to show you how I made this double-sided fold card which I recently created for the Pinkies Retreat. The retreat is a event hosted by Michelle La for her team of demonstrators in the UK, and this is the card that I created for the one of the swap groups that I joined. I actually joined 3 swap groups, so there's going to be another 2 videos showing you the fancy folds that I made for those, and all of them are Christmas themed. So for this card I use the Peace and Joy stamp set and also the Tag Buffet stamp set, and so the front has completely been decorated with the Peace and Joy, and then these 2 sentiments here are from the Tag Buffet. I've actually done some little subtle spots of frost white shimmer paint, and what I'm going to do today is show you a different version using some different colours, just for something different, because I thought I'd like to try gold instead of silver. Okay, so I'm going to just run through what cardstock you need. You need a piece of cardstock that measures 29.7 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres. So that would be the smoky slate piece there. You also need another piece of cardstock that measures 27.5 centimetres by 8.5 centimetres, which would have been the Blushing Bride piece there. You also need 3 pieces of Whisper White cardstock. This piece is 12 centimetres by 8 centimetres, and that's the front, and then the 2 inside panels both measure 8 centimetres by 7 centimetres. You're also going to need a piece of vellum if you're following my design. So you just need a piece of vellum that is big enough for that sentiment, and also a scrap of Whisper White. So this measures 4.25, but you probably only need 4 inches. 4 inches by 2 inches, I would say, but that you only need that if you're following the same decoration as me. Yeah, so you also need some Whisper White scraps, but I'll come back to that later. I've already decorated the front of the Pretty Peacock cardstock, and this time I'm using the Champagne Mist shimmer paint, and all I've done is I've put some on a paintbrush, and then I've taken another paintbrush or whatever, your bone folder, and I've just splattered all over the card. Now I've actually done this a lot more on this version than I have done on this one, because it is hard for you to see. You just about make it out, but I really liked how it looks, so I just kept going. So obviously it's up to you how you do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I scored my cardstock. So you just need your trimmer, because this is all in centimetres today, and you are going to score the large piece, which is 29.7 by 10.5 centimetres, and you are going to score that at 7.5 centimetres on the long side, and 15 centimetres. Okay, and then you're going to take your smaller piece of cardstock, which measures 27.5 by 8.5 centimetres. This is my pool party piece, and I'm going to score that on the long side at 12.5 centimetres and 20 centimetres. Okay, so just going to take my bone folder and show you how to fold that. So you've got the score lines here and here, and you basically want to fold that in half, and then fold that back on itself. So now you have this shape here. Okay, and then with this piece you want to have the score line in the middle here, and the other one just here, and you want to, the best way to describe it, fold it in like that, and then this piece back on itself. So very similar. Okay. So then what you're going to do is attach that, and it will be like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just add some Tombow to half of this piece. You don't want to add too much because otherwise it won't have anywhere to stick to. And what I'm going to do is open them both out. So this is a folded piece, and this piece is like this, and I'm just going to center this piece here to stick that in place. Okay, so then it fits there as well. So then what you want to do is apply some glue to the back of this piece. And simply just fold that flat. That is the best way to make sure it folds correctly. And there you have your double Z fold. So that's really simple. So if you're not going to follow the same decoration as me, you've now got a piece of Whisper White that fits in these sections like this, and you can decorate that how you like. As you can see some of the sparkle, not so much here, so I might have to cover that up and do some more. I don't know, we shall see. Okay, so now I'm going to do the stamping for this piece here, and I'm just going to bring in my piece of Whisper White and my piercing mat. Just because I'm using photopolymer stamps and I want to make sure I get a really good impression. So to match my cardstock, I'm going to be using Pool Party and Pretty Peacock ink. And I'm going to stamp the leaves so that I can position my sentiment in the middle. Stamps in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the holly in Pool Party, and I'm just going to position them in the corners. I'm quite OCD, so I like to kind of mirror things, but you don't have to. You can randomly stamp, and then I'm going to put another piece just here. Okay, and then I'm going to take the holly berries in Pretty Peacock, and I'm just going to make sure that they're a little bit further down than maybe where I would normally place them, just so they're not covered up by the sentiment. Okay, and then I'm going to take the stamp here in Pretty Peacock, and I'm just going to stamp some sprigs, and I'm making sure that I'm close to the edge so that they will be seen. I'm also going to stamp one about here, and then there as well. Okay, so then I'm going to take this little one and I'm going to stamp in Pool Party because I've alternated it around quite a lot. So one there, one just here, another one there. So it's not entirely mirroring, but there is some kind of logic to it. And then I'm going to use this stamp to just fill in some of those spaces. Okay, seeing if I need to do any more. Right, so what I've actually done, I've got the Joy dies, which you may or may haven't seen. They are like shadow font. So you've got a die which cuts out a very thin word saying bright, and then you have two different sizes. So this one is a little bit wider, but you kind of want to stamp on that and then cut it out, but it all can layer. And then this one as well, which is the third layer if you're going to use all three. So what I've done is I've used this die, and I will be using it again later, to cut out the word, the basically behind the word bright. Now what I've done is I have used vellum to stamp my silver embossing onto, but because it's see-through, you're going to see all the stamping underneath. So what I did want that vellum look, so what I've done is I've just die cut the same shape in white just to put below the vellum so you can see everything coming through. So I'm just using that now to check that everything is where I want it to be. And I might just actually, no, I might leave that as it is, because I'm going to put the merry and bright there. I was thinking, do I want another piece here? But actually no, I think it's okay. It might just be here I might want something. Let me do that like that. That might just be what it needs. Yeah, I think that's perfect now. Okay. Right, so that is all the stamping we need to do. If I have actually already stamped the merry and I've done that already, and I need to decide which colour I'm going to use. We shall come back to that in a bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just pop that out of the way and bring my vellum in, and I'm going to take the stamp that says bright, and I'm going to add some Versamark. But first of all, I just need to grab my embossing buddy. 2 seconds. So I just need to make sure that the embossing powder isn't going to stick where it shouldn't. And I'm going to be using gold embossing powder today. Okay, so just get lots of Versamark on my stamp, and I'm just going to stamp it and press really hard, not moving it, just to make sure you get a really good coverage of the Versamark. So you might be able to see, yep, there you go. Put that to one side because we're going to need that Versamark again later. And then I'm going to get my gold embossing powder. And cover that Versamark. Okay, so that covers it pretty nicely. If there were any little pieces of Versamark sticking where it shouldn't, I'd be using a little fine brush just to brush that away, but actually I'm all good to go. So let me just pop that to one side, and I'm just going to get out my heat tool. Perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Joy dies, so this larger piece that I mentioned earlier, to cut out this. But I'm just going to give it a little bit longer to dry because I don't want to ruin the embossing running it through my cutting machine. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to stamp the inside sentiments, and I have used, but I haven't added them to my block, the Tag Buffet stamp set. So this has got a saying that says, "May the good times of today become the cherished memories of tomorrow. Wishing you lots of love, joy and happiness." And then we are also going to use the With Love stamp. Let me just find the block. So this one says, with love for you. Okay, so just get my embossing buddy back again and give these pieces a good dusting. And we want the Stampin' mat just because we're still working with photopolymer. Okay, so really good coverage of Versamark. I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle. Okay, and then same with the with love in the middle too. Okay, so let's just put that Versamark away, and we're going to cover them also in the gold embossing powder. Okay, and again, there's nothing sticking where it shouldn't, so I'm really happy with that one. No need to get the brush out. And then let's just do this last piece. Okay, so you can see here there's some bits sticking where it shouldn't, so I'll just get my paintbrush. I do have some thinner ones, but this one will be fine, and I'm just going to brush that away. Okay, so I tend to heat emboss on cardstock from underneath, but with the vellum I just decided to go downwards. But there's no right or wrong way. You do whatever suits you best. So I'm just going to place this bit in the middle. It's a little bit warped, and I'm just going to use some Tombow. And I've still got to do the die cutting here, but let's just get this in place. So this is the Whisper White panel that's just going to go in the centre. Okay, and I'm just going to die cut this. Okay, so I've now die cut that piece out of vellum, which looks beautiful, and I've applied on the back some mini dimensionals, and I've positioned them in places where they're not really going to be seen because the writing's quite thick and it won't be noticeable. So I'm just going to position that over the top there. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is cut out my words. So what do we think? I'm trying to decide what I think's best. I think I'm going to go with darker. Okay, so here we have my double Z fold card in a different colourway to the swap that I created for the Pinky's Retreat. I really hope you like this version. I do think gold looks really lovely with these colours, although silver is my preference, I think it still looks quite modern. Gold can still look quite modern sometimes, so when it's paired with modern colours like this. I hope you have liked my video today. If you would like to see the other swaps that I made for the Pinky's Retreat, subscribe to my channel and they will be coming up very, very soon. They should all be going live within a couple of days of each other. If not, make sure you subscribe to my blog, www.handmadebykim.co.uk. There's lots of inspiration there for your paper crafts projects. Thank you for watching. Bye.